These are the stories topping the news. Prime Minister Douglas accuses persons of creating instability in the country. St. Kitts and Nevis is represented at the Caribbean Energy Summit in Washington, D.C. And Australia is helping St. Lucia boost its food production. Good afternoon. Welcome to the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Today is January 27th, 2015. I'm Ebony Brandon. Now for a look at the news developments in detail. The country's leader, the Right Honourable Dr. Denzil Douglas, has claimed that there are nationals who are trying to create instability by seeking to have relevant authorities deny other nationals the right to travel to the United Kingdom without a visa. Dr. Douglas's comments came during his recent press conference.
There are some people in this country who are bent on creating instability and uncertainty. There are people who have written, members of the opposition, have written to the European Commission, asking them to possibly pull from us the agreement that we have signed that allows our citizens to visit Europe without having a visa. Would you believe that?
A three-person delegation from St. Kitts and Nevis has wrapped up its participation at a regional summit on energy security in Washington. The delegation members are Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Energy, Lenny Lake, St. Kitts and Nevis's ambassador to the United States, Her Excellency Jacinth Henry Martin, and the Deputy Director of the World Bank, Janet Harris. On Monday, U.S. Vice President Joe Biden met with leaders of Caribbean nations, saying the U.S. would do what it could to help those countries revamp their energy sectors. It has been dubbed a vital concern given the region's dependence on oil shipments from ailing Venezuela. Caribbean leaders agreed to pursue comprehensive and diversified energy programs, including the introduction of cleaner forms of energy. Caribbean leaders are also scheduled to follow up with the U.S. Vice President and U.S. administration officials on a number of other areas of regional concern relating to the region's economic competitiveness, human resource development, and citizen security. Meanwhile, the participants at the Caribbean Energy Summit have laid out specific targets as part of the United States' pledge to assist Caribbean nations reduce the cost of electricity production. In a joint statement issued last night, the participants stated their commitment to support the Caribbean's transformation of the energy systems and to pursue several goals in accordance with national laws. Among these goals are comprehensive approaches to energy transition, including the implementation and pilot of demonstration projects and specific reforms to support policy environments that will help introduce new technologies to improve predictability in price and supply for users. The group has also pledged to promote and develop affordable or no to lower carbon electricity generation and energy efficient measures, recognizing also that alternative fuels such as natural gas can play a useful bridging role. Parties named in the joint statement included Caribbean and international governments, the CARICOM Secretariat, Caribbean Development Bank, European Union, Inter-American Development Bank Group, International Renewable Energy Agency, Organization of American States, and the World Bank Group. In regional developments in St. Lucia, an Australian government-funded farmer field school is helping boost food security in the Monrepus community. The project, a rural extension program, focuses on strengthening the capacity of farmers to analyze their production, identify challenges, and test solutions. Facilitators say, more importantly, it will help to boost food production while ensuring farmers adopt good agricultural practices.
The program is based on climate smart agriculture, a concept developed by the Food and Agriculture Organization, which pushes for sustainable and equitable increases in agricultural productivity and incomes, greater resilience of food systems and farming livelihoods, and a reduction and/or removal of greenhouse gas emissions associated with agriculture. Paul Francis is an agriculture officer in Region 4 and one of the program's facilitators.
My function right now is to assist in the whole implementation of a farmer field school with the group. The group name, the group is the Superior Broom Producers Incorporation, situated in Lapwet. So right now we're in Lapwet, and that is where the work is actually will be implemented.
Retired Extension Officer Bernard John Baptist says the program will boost food production using sustainable agricultural practices.
The project is going quite good, and it is a very important project because When you consider climate change and what is happening now with respect to the weather, the amount of rain we get, it is very important that farmers understand the practices they have to engage in to save water and to continue growing their crops. You know, it is good agricultural practices is what we try and instill into the farmers.
Organizers say already St. Lucia's farmers are feeling the impact of climate change, including rising temperatures and more intense storms. She says the Farmer Field School helps farmers adapt to climate change and contribute to its mitigation.
Now we are having less water and the farmers still have to farm and survive on it. So we are training them so that they can financially sustain themselves, whether it's dry or wet.
According to the FAO, the Farmer Field School approach has proven successful in many countries, ensuring that farmers benefit from agricultural research and adopt more efficient and sustainable farming approaches. Reporting for HTS News Force, I am Ika Fergus.
Workers at the Guyana Geology and Mines Commission are continuing their protest action 3 weeks on. And as we hear in this report, this is affecting interior mining operations.
Workers of the Guyana Geology and Mines Commission have been on the picket line since January 6, but are getting nowhere in their fight for better pay. The GGMC management is refusing to negotiate with workers outside of a mandate from its governing board. The effect of the industrial action is being felt in interior locations and is a worry for women miners, said Simone Bruce, president of the Women Miners Organization.
If GGMC staff is not working, what business could miners do? We can't do anything. We will try to operate from the interior end. If you have a problem, any disagreement, anything at all, and you need a mines officer, you cannot. I just had a member who had a big situation. There's no mines officer. I went to the police, and the police said this is not my job, and the police is right.
The women miners had tried to find out what the Ministry of Natural Resources and the GGMC are doing in order to normalise the situation, but they have received no response.
The longer they take to play hiddly-diddly with the staff, then it's the more money we'll be losing. And I have great concern about that, and I'm very much disappointed. I think it reached a stage where I could say that, you know, it showed clear disrespect.
Dennis English, Industrial Relations Officer with GPSU, the union representing workers, said there would be no let-up to the strike action.
The fact that the workers are still here, it means it's a clear indication that those in authority are quite uncaring. They are showing little or no regard for the rights of the workers. They are failing to honor agreement that we would have already reached at the Ministry of Labour. And instead of them being advised to honor the agreement, you've seen different action to create a departure from the real issue.
English said the protest could intensify in the coming days to force a favourable response.
Internationally, eastern seaboard of the U.S. and Canada is braced for a massive storm. Winds of up to 80 miles per hour are expected to bring up to 3 feet of snow. Around 5,000 flights have been cancelled and schools have been closed. The National Weather Service has described the storm as potentially historic.
From Maine to Philadelphia, the northeastern United States is shutting down to prepare for one of the worst winter storms in decades. An emergency has been declared in several states, closing schools, government agencies and banning most vehicles from the roads. In Massachusetts, 800 snowplows and gritters are hitting the streets, and Boston residents are preparing for the worst.
Candles, flashlights, extra batteries, radio that runs on batteries, board games. You know, I got 3 children at home.
In New York, the subway shut early. Broadway boarded up its theatres, and New Yorkers struggled with the elements as they headed home to sit out the onslaught.
We just went and bought, $40 worth of food, so we're going to stay inside and eat and watch Netflix.
This is literally the calm before the storm. It's about to start in earnest, and when it does, it's going to come in very fast, very hard, and people have to be very, very careful.
Widespread disruption of public services is expected over the next few days, with thousands of flights already cancelled and train operators warning of limited or no service. Here in Massachusetts, the blizzard is really starting to kick in. Parts of the state are expecting up to 30 inches of snow. and there could be hurricane-force winds off the coast, bringing substantial power outages and flooding. The northeast United States is bracing itself for a bad couple of days. Gary O'Donoghue, BBC News, Boston.
In other news, the Church of England appointed its first female bishop on Monday. Reverend Libby Lane became the 8th bishop of Stockport in a service at York Minster.
Lord, keep you.
And with that, she made history. Official title, the new Bishop of Stockport. Unofficial title, and the reason so many were here, Libby Lane is the Church of England's first ever female bishop.
We welcome you as a shepherd of Christ's flock.
A sign from above or a sign of the times. This consecration in the ancient city of York, a very modern affair. The Church of England even promoting her on Twitter, #BishopLibby. Outside in the winter chill, warm smiles all round for the cameras from her.
I'm delighted that it all went so well. Wonderful to be surrounded by so much prayer and support. It's a great day, thank you.
And from the campaigners for whom this is a hugely symbolic day.
I think what we're doing today is prophetic. I think what we're trying to say is right at the very beginning. In the Bible, God created men and women equal in his image.
One of the things to remember here is the Church of England was founded on the principle of change by a king who wanted a divorce. The Pope said no, so he did it anyway. He broke away from Catholicism and he took his country with him. But even though reform runs through the DNA of this church, it has been slow to happen. It's been 20 years since female priests were given its blessing. And even now, in this day and age, in a society and a country where men and women have equal rights, for some the idea of a female bishop is just too much. Case in point, here during the service, when one man managed to make his feelings very clear.
Not in the Bible. With respect, Your Grace, I ask to speak on this absolute impediment, please.
But other churches have women bishops. The Church of Ireland, for example, appointed its first in September 2013. British Columbia got one last March. And they'll be found in Australia, Cuba, India, Swaziland, South Africa, the US and New Zealand. For reformists here, it's a step towards real equality. For traditionalists, it's a step too far. As with all things to do with religion, it is down to personal belief. And there are, and always will be, deep divisions. Phil Lavelle, Al Jazeera, York, Northern England.
In the weather today, skies will be sunny to partly sunny with a chance of brief passing showers. Tonight will be fair to partly cloudy with a chance of brief passing showers as well. Weak instability associated with a frontal trough will generate locally cloudy skies with widely scattered showers over Hispaniola later today and into tonight. There'll be some brief local cloudy periods expected across Puerto Rico today. The rest of the islands, which include the British Virgin Islands southwards to Trinidad and Tobago, will see generally fair to partly cloudy skies with a chance of a brief shower as a ridge of high pressure dominates. That wraps up the midday newscast for today. Join us this evening for these stories and more in detail. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Ebony Brandon.